Hello, BiggerPockets community. This is Sterling here, your favorite real estate investor or just investor overall. Just wanted to thank everyone for joining in. Today is going to be towards the newbies, people who are just getting started, and maybe some more experienced people who have some questions as well. So please comment below and just let me know that you can hear me. Just a little bit about myself is I am a buy and hold investor, specifically multifamily, own just a little over 300 units. That is comprised of single families and also some multifamilies as well in markets within Indiana, Ohio, and what's that last one? Kentucky. Good old Kentucky. Actually just went under contract on, closing on an 80 unit in Louisville, Kentucky. So getting through a lot of that whole process. So it's madness. All right. Thanks, Hector, for joining. They're on Facebook. Thanks for joining, Linda Vincent. We've got Kevin Stewart. Hello there. Glad you all can hear me. And all right, Olivia May over on the YouTube. We got a Cohen from Cohen Graham over on YouTube as well. I'm here in Indianapolis, Indiana, where it's rainy and so-and-so day, but still every day is a wonderful day to be alive and enjoy life. And yeah, so comment below and let me know where you're from as well. Maybe we got some people from out of the country, maybe someone in my backyard in Indianapolis as well. Love to meet up with you if so. So today's going to be open format in terms of whatever question you have that's basically if you're just looking to get started, and kind of some overarching theories as well and philosophies. Not so much philosophies, but doing my best here to answer, because I remember when I was a newbie as well, and that was a little under a decade ago. So gosh, where was I going to go? Also got some giveaways for everyone that is here. If you share and also comment that you shared, I will be picking individuals to have a phone call with myself. I'm going to be doing 2 phone calls, and we could just go over anything in terms of business related in the real estate field, whether that's raising money, acquiring deals, how to brand yourself, how to attract investors, etc. So yeah, I always enjoy having those one-on-one sessions as well. So all right, we got Frank Billman from Chicago. We've got, hey, Jared J Rock. Yeah, it's been a while. great to see you on. And we've got Brian Kittle from St. Charles, Illinois. We've got Daniel Spinks. Thanks for joining. So first question I kind of going to just jump right into as well. It's going to be, gosh, where is that? Okay. What model do I specifically jump into? Because I'm just, again, I'm a newbie, just started my research. Which route should I go? So there's many different models and specific sectors within those models. So you can do wholesaling on land, on single family houses, or even multifamily. So there's the wholesaling route. And then there's the fix and flip model as well. And also just simply the buy and hold, where you buy an asset and let's say you invest $1 million in that asset and it's more for cash flow purposes. And also you can buy it where it's already stabilized, or it's, well, don't want to get into all those details, but don't want to get too in the trenches. But with that is, what model do I start off with? To answer that question, it's more of which one fits your level of expertise. There's really no right or wrong model to start with. Myself, I did quite a bit of them. So when I first started, I was in the construction side, then I did some wholesaling, and then I did fix and flip, and then that's when I went into buy and hold. So I did all of those various models, and now I'm really focused on the buy and hold side, because that's more of course, you build long-term wealth through that route, and it just fits more of my long-term goals. So hopefully that answers that question. Is just more of you may have to test various models in order to find the one that fits kind of your philosophy and where your goals and where you're going in life, or where you would like to go. So the The second one is which model is better. So I kind of answered that on the previous one. There's people out there that are making hundreds and millions of dollars or millions of dollars, or not even making that much, but really enjoy what they're doing on, let's say, wholesaling land or buy and hold of, let's say, single family homes. So there's really no specific best model from my perspective. I would say when I was in the fix and flip, so buying a house to stress, renovating it, and selling it to a homeowner, that was a pain from my perspective. But that, again, if you have the right systems in place and you set the foundation, then that can be even more simpler. So there's really no right or wrong model to exactly go into. I like the buy and hold because it's, again, you build longer. There's more tax benefits. You build longer wealth through that way. So through that, let's go to the next one. I've got a question here that says, do you pay property management if a property is vacant? Yes, you do. So that's one thing, and you got to have that in that's generally what you'll have in the agreement. So, actually, because it's 10% of the gross income. So someone else would need to jump in and ask that question. I'll actually get back to you on that. Who is that? Watson. Because I've always done self-managing myself, so I haven't had to deal with a third party in terms of managing and experience that when the property does go vacant. Are they still charging me? I would say yes. Well, I know once they do lease that specific asset that they do charge you a leasing fee. So let me go into the next question, which would be, now that you've picked the model, and now the next one is, how do I find a deal? So whether that's land, whether that's a specific asset, a hard asset, single family house, multifamily building, etc., commercial, there's various channels that you can utilize. One is just simply relationship based. Someone who knows who owns that specific property. The other routes are, there's plenty. There's direct mail, there's cold calling, there's also signs that you see throughout that say we buy houses, we buy apartments, etc. Or there's also now not new but newer is social media ads. There is Google ads, and there's actual door knocking. So those are all the components. What has worked best for me is actually, on the multifamily side, is the direct mail as well as the cold call. And with that, you have to be very persistent and also have a campaign in place to where you're not just doing it once. If you do it once, then the results will not be there. So. And those of you, again, just want to mention who are on Facebook, please do not hesitate. Please give those likes, give those wows, and also those loves too. And in addition to that, those of you who do share it and also comment below that you shared, I will be picking 2 people to have a phone call with myself to where we can just go over elements such as finding a deal. What's the other one? Branding yourself, finding investors, raising money, etc. So let me go into the next question, which would be I have no money, what do I do? So it's all about solving problems ultimately. So through that is, if you don't have money, then that's a problem that you have to solve yourself, and you just got to figure it out ultimately. I know it's easier said than done, but through that. So I'll just give a prime example. My first acquisition was a single family house. I had no credit, actually negative money in the bank account because I over-withdrew it. And through that, I found someone who actually later became my mentor, partnered with him because he was looking to diversify from multifamily investing to single family investing, but didn't have the time to find the deal. So his problem was the time. I had the time. I didn't have the capital, and just basically bridged that gap. So that's just a prime example, a real life situation through that. So when you're having issues with not having the capital, then you just simply have to raise it from someone through that process. And the best route is, I would say, start with your inner circle. in terms of relatives, friends of friends, and then kind of just branch out from there. Or if you have a seller that is very motivated, through that you can get seller financing to where you don't have to put any money down. But of course, it's likely that you'll have an interest payment, but you'll still ultimately have to have some type of capital to get into the game. And whether that is yours or not, you just have to figure that out. So, all right, let me see what questions. HML that says that HML is hard money loan. Hopefully that makes sense. Do you teach wholesaling? No, I don't. I'm happy to answer any questions on wholesaling if you have any, but there's plenty of articles on BiggerPockets that will bring value on that. So the next question, newbie related, is what are good places I can research? Let's say it's a specific model, or I want to get a better understanding on how to exactly structure a syndication, etc. So the one of the phenomenal sources is, of course, BiggerPockets.com. That's huge. You can go through the forums and see. I would say it's highly probable that the problem that you're experiencing, someone else has experienced it and posted it on the forum to get some feedback on. Or if you go through all the forums and you're not able to find someone or find a thread that answers that, or I went into a different direction. Excuse that. Well, no. Let's stay in that direction. If you're looking to educate yourself on a specific model and then maybe you are facing a problem, then you can go into those forums and someone will give a very thorough breakdown. Or you can just go type in, let's say it's wholesaling land, and there's plenty of articles on BiggerPockets on that as well. And also doing Google research, and also YouTube is a viable source as well. But going back to BiggerPockets is, let's say you found a model, let's say it's buy and hold multifamily, and you read through all the forums related to that. And then also the articles that are on there as well is one thing that if you do get started, there still happens to be some questions that you have, then you can go down to that the person who wrote that article and say, hey, this is a little something I'm experienced. Let's say, how did you raise funds for your specific deal, or how should the tenants are currently paying utilities. So just any general question that you can just ask that specific author of that article on what if you're experiencing any issues. Hopefully that made sense. I kind of just went into a little bit of a circle, so disregard that part. And then let's go. The sixth one is, should I buy a real estate course? So there are courses out there that are really good, but again, there's plenty of free resources out there that I would say if you really want to dial down on something and that person who is offering the course has actually been there, done that, and is very reputable, then go that route. But I would recommend staying with the free BiggerPockets. Again, Googling, reading tons of articles on that specific model or subjects, and then also leveraging YouTube as well. So there's that. So I would say I have not bought a course on real estate whatsoever. I'm sure there's good ones out there, but I personally have not bought any. So whatever works for everyone. The next one is, how should I structure my business? And that is in terms of what is it, entity wise. So I would just say, for simplicity purposes, I've always went with an LLC. This is one thing that you would want to just ask a CPA or just a specific attorney that's in your specific sector. But just to keep things simple, an LLC should be able to just suffice. Once you really start getting complicated in terms of how you structure deals, or if you're looking to do some type of structure to where you offset some type of taxes or whatnot, then that's when you possibly want to go a different route of an S corp or etc. So there's that. And then the others. So let me see what questions this came through in here. So someone says, hello Sterling, Tammy over on YouTube. What is the best way to find buyers? The best route to find buyers, that's a great question. On that is, let's say you found I've always gone the route of finding the deal and then finding the buyers. Other people do it the other way. It can, either route is fine, but I like to find the deal. Or if I'm targeting a specific neighborhood, let's say I identify all these properties. What I'll do is I will pull the cash buyers that have bought properties within the most recent 30 to 60 days and just reach out to all of them and say, hey, this is what I'm looking to do in this specific neighborhood. I saw that you purchased this asset over here. Kind of what's your criteria? So that's a good route. And then you just build a buyer's list that way. Very simple through that process. Okay. Other questions? What is your favorite niche? Probate, pre-foreclosure, etc. Probate's good. Probate is one, and yeah, I would say probate. Any type of way that someone is inheriting a property, I've had the most success with, because generally they want nothing to do with it. And mom and pop, I would say, is a really good route, because there's tons of value that can be brought into that, because generally those types of assets are mismanaged, not being marketed well, and tons of things to where you can go in, push up rents, make it more professional, and also bring value to the surrounding neighborhood. Thanks again, everyone, for those likes over there on Facebook. I really love seeing those come in, and also those wows. All right. So let me see some questions. Someone just mentioned, what did he say about LLC? Just mentioned for simplicity purposes, that is a great route to just start in terms of just filing that yourself. Or you can have an attorney involved with filing that as well, especially if you're a beginner. It's very cheap. Or if you have some specific, if you're getting complex in the way that you want to structure for tax purposes, then you may want to get an S corp. But generally, you'll just see LLC. So just to avoid making everything complicated, just go with an LLC. I would just recommend. All right. Can I break them? Fair enough. This person says, can I break a management agreement if they are not performing correctly? Yes, if you have a clause in there. So if you're in there for, let's say, a year or 2 years, and it doesn't have a way for you to basically back out, let's say they're non-performing, you can give a 30-day notice to cancel the contract, then that's something that you cannot just completely cancel. You have to always have that provision in there. How do I find wholesales? So that was the earlier one in terms of deals. So you can go direct mail, you can go cold calls, you can go relationship based. So asking, just basically networking, asking people who know people who know people. There's that route. There's bandit signs where you put those up. I would say you can get in trouble with those. So let's just scratch the bandit signs. Depends on what specific city you're in. Some cities don't like those signs throughout the city. And then you've got social media ads, which has been doing well, especially if you're targeting. It depends on the demographic that you're targeting as well. Facebook is very great on this in terms of all their touch points that they have on people. Very creepy, but it's good from a marketing standpoint. There's Google ads, and there's also door knocking. So door knocking is the route to go with that is you pick a targeted neighborhood, and then you physically go there and door knock on all of, let's say, the properties that you've done your research before that have, let's say, a little over 80% equity, or even own their assets free and clear. So you would knock on all those doors in hopes that you would get someone that is interested in selling, and it comes down to the numbers. So you'll have to knock on a lot of doors to get to that point. When it comes to property management, what key things should you look for that people often miss? See, I have not ran into third partying in terms of on the management side. I'm actually doing that now on an 80 unit now that I think about that. So I haven't ran into too many scenarios of what people often miss. I would say one big thing is this, I'm just using my own scenario as having someone who isn't, let's say you have a 100-unit apartment complex, and then you're using someone who only has experience managing duplexes, triplexes, and quadplexes. So that's one thing that I see people overlook oftentimes is they see that someone has management on these specific assets and they're nearby your property, that you automatically assume that they'll be good as far as managing yours as well, because they're just right in the proximity. It's always just good to have someone who has that track record. They may be a little bit farther. You still want to get someone local, but just you always have to you want to have someone who has that track record of managing assets similar to you, the one that you plan on delegating to them. Awesome. And again, for everyone who is on Facebook and also YouTube, share and comment, and I will be picking 2 individuals that have a phone call with myself. So I'll be having a couple questions here. Oh, good. Try and keep up with these. There's quite a bit coming in. All right. I still have not gotten this down just yet. Okay. Give me a second, guys. They're coming in. So we have right here, Sheriff of Michigan. This says, we've got Nick over on Facebook that says, what is your best advice for a young guy to start and scale a buy and hold portfolio? So through that is, wow, there's a lot of likes coming in. Thank you so much. Is through that, if you're looking to basically start on the buy and hold and really scale and blow things up, is you are going to have to go into essentially raising money to buy deals. And it depends on where you're looking to scale exactly, because that could be, I don't know, your ambitions with that. But there's also loans, which I haven't really gone the loans route on single family houses. I've always gone cash. This is a very broad question that he asked. And to go back to your question is, if you're looking to scale, is you can either, one is use other people's money is the biggest one. And of course, through that, it's always good that, well, it's great that you have the track record before that. So start off with your own portfolio, and then you have that track record, learn the business. And then once you have that solidified, that's when you can go out and start raising money from others, because that's when it really gets serious, because it's no longer just your money, it's other people's, which that can get a little scary at times, because those people are depending on you, so you got to get the job done. So hopefully that answers your question. I don't if you can shoot me a message later and we can go more detailed into that, so I can understand what model and also how big are you wanting to go. Closing on my first property Friday, a buy and hold duplex. One piece of advice. Gosh, that is. I'm trying to think where to exactly go with that. I would say as long as you've bought right, is through that. See, I don't have a clear enough picture, enough context on that, so I wouldn't be able to answer that, Jeff. One piece of advice is, get in there and renovate the... Yeah, I don't have enough context on that. I wish I could answer. This person said, didn't you get a complex that had a little lake on it? No, I did not. There was one I was looking to buy that had one on it, but didn't end up going that route on that. Seller is still... It's been over a year of back and forth, but at some point in time, they are going to be ready to sell. All right. So this person, Michael, on a YouTube asks, I'm 23 working at Kroger. I have no experience whatsoever in investing and never been to college. Should I pursue the career of real estate to invest in real estate? How can invest in the long term? So me, personally, I was actually in college and I had a business as well. And through, I think it was my 5th year, decided to jump into real estate full time, because I was already doing real estate at that present time. And the way as mentioned, was able to get that first deal was I partnered with someone in order to acquire it, and I retained equity in that as well. And then we just bought more properties from that and scaled from there. So that I hope that provides enough context to your question on that. All right. What's your portfolio? How did you get into real estate? So great question. Thank you so much. And so my portfolio is just a little over 300 units. 176 of those are multifamily, and the remaining are single family. And I got into real estate, started on the construction side my late teens. So just a little under a decade in the industry. Are there still deals out there? Yes, there are plenty of deals. But through that, you have to look through a lot of product in order to find those gems that work for your numbers, because it's very competitive. Again, it depends on what market that you're targeting, but overall, it's very competitive. So in order to find a good deal, you have to look through quite a bit in order for the numbers to work. Closing on a property on Monday. I'm closing on a property Friday. Should I eventually put it under an LLC? Yes. So everyone, I just want to thank you for joining. Hopefully that did provide you some value. So through that, I'll pick a couple people in here to have a phone call with myself. And thanks again for joining. Have a great one.